Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into a career path that's way more interesting than people realize. We're going to dig into what it really means to be a legal administrative assistant. And trust me, this isn't your grandma's desk job.
Yeah, it's true. People really underestimate how much variety and complexity there is in this role, especially in the fast-paced world of law.
Totally. And we've been going through RoleCatcher's guide, and they made this point that stuck with me. They're not just organizing files. They're organizing information that could make or break a case.
And that brings up a key thing, the attention to detail. And we're not just talking typos here. Think about organizing evidence for a trial, managing calendars, even drafting letters. One slip-up could be huge.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. So it's not just about being organized. It's understanding how important the information is. No wonder RoleCatcher says it's important to understand legal stuff, even without a law degree.
Yeah, you have to be fluent in legalese to know what lawyers need to keep things running smoothly. Like imagine preparing docs for court. A formatting error could mean delays or even getting rejected.
Okay, that makes sense. Like an air traffic controller keeping everything on track in a crazy environment.
Totally. And just like them, legal administrative assistants have to juggle a lot at once and stay calm.
So not for the faint of heart, but definitely impactful.
Yeah, RoleCatcher points out this interesting thing. The tasks are detail-oriented, but the role has a lot of autonomy and decision-making. As you get experience, you're the one anticipating needs, fixing problems, and making sure everyone's on top of things.
So there's a real sense of ownership there.
Mm.
You're not just told what to do, you're actually shaping how things work. That's got to be rewarding.
It is, and RoleCatcher mentions this leads to good career stuff, too. The more experience and knowledge you get, the more valuable you are.
So we've got demands and rewards, but what about the downsides? RoleCatcher doesn't shy away from them.
True, they're upfront about the long hours and tough deadlines in law. Overtime is normal, especially during trials or big deadlines.
And with what you said about mistakes, I can only imagine the stress.
Yeah, RoleCatcher really emphasizes being able to manage stress if you want this career. It's fast-paced, you need to think clearly even when things are crazy.
So coping mechanisms and a good yoga studio on speed dial.
Exactly, but even with these challenges, people love this role. Knowing your work is about justice and helping people with legal stuff is really rewarding.
So it's this unique mix of tough and rewarding, needing crazy attention to detail, but also giving you room to grow and make a difference. What skills do you actually need? Let's get into that. Okay, so we know being a legal administrative assistant is more than just pushing paper. What skills do you really need to make it in this world?
Well, you might be surprised that some of the biggest ones aren't about law, they're about communication and people skills.
Really? That's interesting. When you think about it, law really is about people, isn't it?
Exactly, and RoleCatcher puts active listening first. And they say it's not just writing down what you hear, it's about the nuances, the stuff people don't say, the emotions behind the words.
Right, like a lawyer might be talking about a contract, but you're picking up on the client's worries about the deal.
Exactly, being able to read between the lines, understanding the law jargon and what's really going on with people, that's huge.
So a legal whisperer, I
Mm-hmm.
like it. What about the more, typical admin stuff? RoleCatcher mentions writing a lot.
For sure, but again, it's not just grammar and commas. We're talking about emails that are professional but also show you get it. Summarizing complicated legal stuff, clearly even catching tiny mistakes in documents that could be a big deal later.
Every email, a mini legal brief, no pressure.
Right. But seriously, RoleCatcher is clear. Good writing is non-negotiable for this career.
So we've got listening, writing, what about tech? Law is getting really digital.
Great point, and RoleCatcher spends a lot of time on this. Modern legal administrative assistants got to be good with all kinds of software and online stuff.
Like what specifically? Give us a rundown.
Well, obviously, Microsoft Office is a must. Spreadsheets for budgets, presentations for clients' calendars that are always perfect.
Okay, beyond the basics, what else is in the toolkit?
That's where it gets interesting. They talk about legal databases like Westlaw and LexisNexis. You can search through tons of legal documents and old cases to find what lawyers need.
So like a legal detective finding clues.
Exactly. They also mention case management software, which is getting big in firms. These platforms keep track of everything, deadlines, client messages, evidence, all in one place.
Sounds essential to stay on top of things, but that's a lot. Does RoleCatcher talk about that?
Yeah, they do. They say most employers will train you on their specific software, so you don't have to be an expert right away. The key is being willing to learn new tech as it comes out.
That makes sense. So not a coder, but tech savvy. So we've got communication organization, tech skills. How does all this actually mean a better career? And we're back, ready to see how all these skills actually turn into a real career path.
RoleCatcher does a nice job showing the different stages of a legal administrative assistant's career and how, like, your role gets bigger as you get better.
So let's start at the beginning. What's a typical entry-level job look like?
It's all about the basics, showing you're reliable and can handle the essentials, building that foundation, think answering phones, setting appointments, prepping simple legal documents, and of course, organizing those files.
So precision, efficiency, making sure those key things are done right.
Absolutely. And as you get more experience and confidence, you naturally move up to junior legal administrative assistant, more responsibility and working closer with lawyers on real cases.
Okay, so what's that look like in practice? What kind of stuff might you be doing?
RoleCatcher says this is where you might be prepping documents for court, which means following strict rules for formatting and legal terms. You might also be handling schedules for clients and witnesses, even helping with trial prep by organizing evidence or making binders for witnesses.
So it's getting real now,
Mm-hmm.
not just keeping the office tidy. You're actually part of how a case is handled.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher has these cool examples like Sarah, who started as a junior legal administrative assistant and got noticed because she was so good at knowing what the lawyers needed before they even asked.
I love those stories. They make it real. What happened with Sarah?
Well, because she was killing it, she got more and more responsibility. She learned all about e-filing, became a whiz at legal research, even started training the new admin staff.
Sounds like she was on her way to that next step. Senior legal administrative assistant. What's involved there?
This is less about assisting and more about managing and leading. RoleCatcher talks about things like being in charge of other admin staff, handling calendars for multiple lawyers, and even doing your own serious legal research on specific topics.
So you're the right hand to a lawyer or even a whole team.
Yeah. And for those who love leading, the big goal might be lead legal administrative assistant.
Tell me more about that. Sounds pretty high up.
It is. You're basically running the whole legal department. Day-to-day operations budgets, supervising staff, working with attorneys on cases and strategy.
From files to running the show, that's quite a journey. But RoleCatcher also says this job can lead to other things in law, right?
Definitely. They point out those skills you get as a legal administrative assistant, organization, communication, legal knowledge. Those can be used in lots of roles. Paralegal, legal secretary, even something specific like intellectual property or family law.
So it's not a dead end. It's more like a launch pad. You can build your career how you want within the legal field.
Totally. And that makes me think of something super important, actually getting the job in the first place. RoleCatcher doesn't just describe the job. They give you advice on how to get hired.
And they're big on tech,
Right.
like using it to stand out from everyone else.
Big time. They talk about these things called applicant tracking systems, or ATS. They're basically algorithms that companies use to look at resumes and applications.
So your skills aren't enough. You have to know how to show them off in a way these computer programs understand.
Exactly. They tell people to customize their resumes and cover letters for every job, really making sure they're using the same words and phrases as the company.
So you're speaking the ATS's language.
Yeah. And to help with this whole digital thing, RoleCatcher has its own AI tool called Copilot.
What is Copilot? How does it actually work?
So from what I understand, it looks at job descriptions and figures out the keywords and skills that are most important. Then it gives you suggestions on how to put those into your resume cover letter, even your LinkedIn.
Like having a career coach in your computer.
Totally. But they also say tech is only part of it. Networking, meeting people, showing who you are, those are still super important.
Going beyond the resume, like going to events, connecting on LinkedIn, even having those informational interviews.
Exactly. It's all about making real connections and showing your passion for law, something a resume can't do.
So tech skills and good old-fashioned people skills.
For sure. And as we finish our deep dive into the legal administrative assistant world line, RoleCatcher leaves us with a question. How will this job change as technology, especially AI, gets even bigger in law?
That is a good question. If AI starts doing the routine work, what will legal administrative assistants need to learn? Maybe they'll be the ones who bridge the gap between the tech and the people side of things.
Interesting thought. It's something we can all think about as the world of work keeps changing.
Totally. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for such a great guide and to you, the listener, for joining us. Hope you learned something new today.